What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, hit that like button. We have so much to talk about what's going on inside the Celebrity Big Brother house, from the episode to the live feeds. We just got to jump into it. Let's start off with the episode and kind of a recap of what happened last night with it. We saw the fallout of the Mirai eviction, as well as Chris Kattan's speech, where he was like, "Hey, vote me out," and everybody was like, "Nah." So it was a 7-0 vote to vote Mirai out of the house. And Chris Kattan's like, whoa, what do you mean? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? I thought she should deserve to stay. And everyone's like, Chris, do you even know what game you're on? I thought it was a little bit mean, the way they were kind of pushing it like that. But look, Chris Kattan is doing Chris Kattan things, and we'll get to that even more in a bit. We did see Carson call out NSYNC for throwing that veto competition. He was like, "Did you even want to win, or do you need to go see an optometrist? Because what was that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I need to see a doctor." Dude, you threw it. It was the most obvious throw ever, and everybody's calling you out on it now. We also saw NSYNC blaming Chris Kattan for not wanting to do the backdoor on Todrick, which again, I don't think is fair. NSYNC, if he wanted to do the backdoor, he had the opportunity to do it, but he said it all hinged on NSYNC's vote, or hinged on Chris Kattan's vote, so he didn't do it. Again, I think he's pushing the blame. He never really wanted to do it. He just wanted to talk a big game and potentially backdoor Todrick, but never really had the actual guts to do it. After that, we jump right into the HOH competition, and it wasn't even close. Like we talked about, it was that one where you have to strip off your clothes while holding down the buttons. There were really only 3 people that were close at all. It was Miesha and Todrick. They were really close in time. I think it was only like a few seconds difference. And then Carson was probably the next one that was closest, but he had almost double their scores. So Miesha is your new HOH, and she had her targets in sight. She wanted to go after Carson. She wanted to go after Cynthia. And that's what she did. She nominated the 2 of them for eviction. Todrick was kind of talking about how, hey, maybe there's, the target of NSYNC. Maybe we could do that. But Carson is their #1 target this week. And that's who they wanted to get out. Depending on what happens with the veto, which is what we're about to get into, because there's a lot that we need to talk about, from the veto competition to what else has been going on in the live feeds. If you don't want spoilers for that, well, we're about to get on into it. So first off, the feeds were down for hours yesterday. There's 2 things they'll show on the feeds, right? So we have the animal adoption pets, which is what they'll put on when they're doing like something kind of long, right? Like a competition or even nominations. And then they also have these things called, like we call them, is bubbles, right? Because there are a bunch of bubbles on the screen, or maybe we'll say we'll be right back. But for the most part, it's a bunch of bubbles that they'll put up on the screen, which are more of like the short-term cuts, right? When they're just cutting for a little bit, right? Whether it's somebody saying something that they shouldn't be saying on there, so they have to cut away, or there's just whatever they need to do where they want to cut away so that we don't see the feeds right away, or they're switching. It's kind of the short-term one. Well, we had the bubbles on for almost 3 hours, and I was like, man, what's going on in there? Until eventually they switched over to the adoption animals, and it was like, okay, so maybe now we're doing the veto. And once we eventually got feeds back, we found out who the winner of the veto competition was. With 2 weeks in a row, we had Shayna. Shayna is your veto winner. And this is where things are going to get a little interesting, right? Because not only does she have the power to take Carson or Cynthia off the block, the numbers are changing. So we also found out, as soon as it came back, that not only did Shayna win back-to-back POVs, we also had a Houseguest quit. Chris Kattan has quit the Big Brother house. He is no longer in there. It's been reported that it's going to be addressed on Friday. it also seemed like it was maybe not permanent, but I don't see how it's not permanent. I think he is gone for good. And how this changes the numbers is huge. So Shayna's plan right now is to use the veto, take down Carson. Once Carson's down, the replacement nominee from Miesha, she only has 4 options, right? Todrick, not going to happen. NSYNC, who's Todrick's other target, might be a good option to go up there. And then you have Todd and Lamar. I don't think she's going to put up Lamar. That's one of her closer allies. And Todd would make sense if they want to appease NSYNC. This is where things get a little crazy. So the Carson, Cynthia, and Shayna side, right? They will control 2 votes at the very least. Then you will have the Miesha Todrick side. You would think that they're going to have at least 2 or 3 votes, depending on who is up on the block. If NSYNC is up on the block, they probably have 3 votes and NSYNC goes. If Todd ends up on the block and NSYNC decides to side with Carson, Shayna, Cynthia, that's a foursome right there. And it doesn't matter what's going on. They can then vote out Todd or Lamar, whoever Miesha puts up as the replacement. So whoever goes up at their replacement, this is really huge. There's a lot of discussions going on like how they're going to work this. Originally, it was like, do we take Shayna down? Do we take Carson down? I think Shayna has kind of settled on she's going to take Carson down and try and keep him because Cynthia is the more likely one where they would be able to keep if they could convince Lamar to do this, which is a possibility, at least with some of the conversations that I've been hearing, especially there was one between Todd and Lamar. So Shayna was working on Lamar, trying to pull him over. She's like, look, Miesha and Todrick, they have the numbers. We have to be able to keep Carson this week. So I'm thinking of pulling him down, and hopefully, you know, if Todd goes up, then we have the numbers. If NSYNC goes up, then we have the numbers, and we can control this. And Lamar and Todd ended up having a conversation where Lamar said to Todd, he's like, yeah, we got to keep Carson. And Todd's like, no. Todd is completely against it. Todd is more with Miesha and Todrick than even Lamar is. I think Lamar doesn't even realize what side of the house he wants to end up going with. So the scenarios of what's going to happen after this veto is used, after the replacement nominee, is insane. Who knows where things are going to go here? Miesha and Todrick actually think that NSYNC would be the swing vote, right? He would be the one who kind of decides things. So they were thinking that, maybe it's best to kind of put him up, right? Or it's better to make a deal with him so that he votes with them. Here's the only problem. If you go and you say to him, hey, because they were like, we'll make a 1-week deal with him. If you go to him and say, hey, let's make a 1-week deal where we're safe and you're safe, why would he then vote with you? But this is also NSYNC, and he hasn't shown to have much of a backbone really just yet. He could have targeted Todrick and backdoored him last week when he was HOH, and he decided not to do that. I just don't know where his vote's actually going to end up going. If he does stay off the block and he goes with Carson, he goes with Cynthia, and he goes with Shayna, they will then have the numbers going forward against Todrick and Miesha. But that's a big if. One thing that's also interesting is Miesha and Todrick feel like NSYNC is pulling the strings, almost like that Bye 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 video with Shayna. But really, I'll tell you, Shayna is in her own car. She's driving. She is ready to go. Even if NSYNC is up there, I feel like she is ready to vote him out, work with Carson, work with Cynthia, and take out Miesha and Todrick. So this could get wild. My thoughts on everything going on right now. Friday is going to be really interesting to see what happened, right? How did Chris Kattan leave, right? Was it before the veto? Was it after the veto? What's going to happen with the renoms? Who's Miesha going to put up there? who's going to end up going home, and then who's going to be the HOH afterwards. This week is in a total flux and thrown into a total blender. What started as, this is going to be kind of sad, we're going to see either Carson or Cynthia go home. We might have a lot of hope because at least one of them's going to stay, because Shayna is using this veto. She is dead set on that. So what do you guys think? Are you sad to see Chris Kattan leave? Are you happy to see Shayna win veto? Who do you think Miesha's going to put up as the replacement? The running candidates are NSYNC or Todd. I don't think she's putting Lamar up there on the block. And in that scenario, would you want to see NSYNC or Todd go home over Cynthia? Let me know in those comments down below. Once again, guys, my name is Ori. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And if you were new here, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. We're always updating on the live feeds, reviewing the episodes, as well as having a live watch party. We're going to do that again on Friday. It will be a eviction episode, as well as we'll see what happened with the veto and Chris Kattan leaving. So it's going to be a very important episode of the season. But once again, guys, thank you for watching and have a good day. I will see you next time.